Hi, we're Lily, and we're hanging out with Rob on Front Row Live.
You guys got my attention the moment I started listening to, I believe it was Toro that I listened to. And it got my attention because, like, you guys are young, but you guys are bringing back this, like, rock music, rock sound. But it doesn't sound like you're trying to do something that you're not comfortable with. It sounds like you guys have been in the industry for some time. Talk to me about, like, the reason behind wanting to play this style of music for your band.
I think um, I just think the we wanted to match like the live show as much as we could, because I think that's where we kind of find our home in this in a sense.
Yeah.
I think our strongest suit is the live performance, and we try and match that in the music. I would say just like the really intense sound,
Right.
whatever that may be.
So did you guys kind of like figure that out, after you guys kind of got together and started to build this project before you guys even knew what kind of band it was going to be?
No, I think it happened pretty organically.
Yeah.
I think because it didn't start all four of us, and I think like one by one, everybody just sort of found their own role, and then it wasn't forced at all,
Right.
and it keeps evolving.
Got it. Now, like, it's interesting because, like, there's this, a lot of people say rock is dead. A lot of people say a lot of genres are dead. What are your thoughts on that right now?
What are my thoughts on if the genre is dead or not?
Has so many thoughts.
I have so many thoughts. I mean, Charlie answers this question the best. I mean, I'll try to answer it, but it's like rock is dead, just like the next thing is dead. I don't think anything's really dead. I just think right now it's like not the thing.
It's not what people are
It's
listening
not
to.
what people listen to, but it doesn't like. I don't think it's not like jazz. Like what Charlie says, like jazz is also dead.
Yeah.
It's like it doesn't really. I don't know.
Also, it's like how you look at like books. Like you don't look at books as like you don't read a book when you're reading the dialogue as if it's the past. You read it as if it's currently happening. So I think that's kind of how music is. Like you don't really like it's there, it's art. You don't listen to it as if it's the past. It's a ongoing thing that
Right.
continuously sparks new stuff. So I think that's kind of why music doesn't really die in a sense, or any genre.
Right.
Yeah.
We
So.
also happen to be playing rock right now. It could be something different in the future, but
But is that intimidating to you guys, knowing that there's not that many bands out there that are playing the same style of music that you guys are doing right now?
No, I kind of like it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think like uh, a genre itself is very limiting nowadays too. I don't think anything is. I think the days of defining something by a genre are kind of done.
Right.
I think, I think if you set out to do a certain thing, you're already kind of, pigeonholing yourself.
Right.
So, yeah, it's not. It's nice that there's not too many other bands that we can play with that sound similar to us. But it's also most of the bands that we like, current and whether they're still making music or they haven't made music for a long time, don't necessarily play well with another band,
Right.
or another artist or
They have their unique sound.
yeah. Well, yeah, and I think it's just anything like worth listening to is has a voice of its own.
Right. Now, you were mentioning earlier, like, the live show had a big reasoning behind the music that you guys play, because you guys wanted to, like, kind of showcase that kind of energy. But you guys come from, like, playing house shows and, like, garage shows and stuff. Now you guys are playing venues and touring. So, what kind of impact have those, like, house shows and garage shows had on the band as far as, like, the live show goes?
I think I genuinely think that has helped kind of connect us to the show itself, because we don't really need like a stage necessarily to play a show. It's just we do with what's there. And so I think that's kind of the cool thing that those garage slash house parties kind of did for us. It didn't, I wouldn't say like humbled us or anything, but it definitely helped build our live performance in a sense. I don't
Right.
know. Yeah.
Now, do you feel like that kind of helped you guys be able to work the crowd or work the audience in any show? Because, you know, these house shows, these garage shows, you are literally like, your fans are literally right in front of you. So did that kind of help with like if you guys were intimidated to hit the stage or not?
Well, I think that there are certain shows that we play nowadays that are closer to those kind of shows than others.
Really?
So there's shows that are like, there'll be like a divider between you and the people, and you're on a huge stage, and it's like spectacle-y, which is like not as fun for us. And I think we've come to a consensus that it's a lot more entertaining for us and like enjoyable to be playing in front of people that are in, you know, somewhere closer quarters and more up close and personal. So I think like the garage shows kind of set us up for that.
I mean, we were just in Europe and we had this show in Cologne, and I wasn't even on the stage
Yeah.
because it was so small. But that was
the best show.
yeah, it was like one of the best shows we've ever played. You know, yeah.
Well, dude,
Sauna. Why was it so hot?
I never sweat that much in my life.
Yeah?
Yeah, it was great. It was great. Yeah.
So how are you? I mean, because I feel like that's kind of scary when you have your fans so close to you, and you guys are like a wild style band when you guys are performing. So how do you pay attention to all these people that are kind of surrounding you without hurting them?
You can't really like. Well, I mean, you're aware of the space that you're occupying, but you can't really focus on anything else.
But it's like there is the whole point of like when there's like a big stage, it's, you know, it's like there's the audience and then you're looking in awe at this band on this big stage when like really it's so much cooler when it's like
When you're right there.
you're literally there is no stage. Everyone is
Yeah.
the band isn't like, it's just a part of the whole crowd, and I think everything starts to mesh together at a certain point, which is cool.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, well, you guys have been promoting your EP lately. Like those songs, you guys wrote them maybe like a year and a half ago. Maybe even longer. So
We wrote most of those songs when we were like 15, 16.
Dang.
Yeah. And now we're like 20.
So, you know, what is it like now that you guys are performing those songs to, you know, a bigger audience? You guys are taking it around the world, basically. Like, have those songs kind of changed for you guys in any way? Like maybe the idea of the song, or like maybe like the way that you guys play it live now?
I think I don't think necessarily the idea changed. I think the songs were most definitely about just kind of like the energy that we were trying to put through them, like the reason to finally get them out after, you know, having them for so long. And I think that when we perform them, I think it just gets more intense because, you know, you just play songs for so long that it's just, you know, you find different ways of doing things. I don't know. I don't think there's a real change, but I do think it's more of a change from show to show in a sense.
It's definitely different from the studio version.
Yeah,
Though. It's way more like,
definitely.
I guess, like punk-esque
Yeah.
rather than like produced, tight sounding.
Right.
You know, because
I don't really.
What was like some of the biggest challenges that you guys faced, like when creating this EP, since these songs have been around for some time for you guys?
I think the biggest challenge recording this EP is it was probably our first time in the studio, and we didn't entirely know what we were doing.
Yeah.
You know, and so that was the biggest challenge. I mean, yeah, and it's a lot, you know, and now like that was almost like a year and a half ago now when we recorded those. So
March of last year. Right.
yeah, but I mean, dude, the first two songs were even longer.
Yeah.
So I think we just have a way better idea of is like what we want to do now and how to function in and out of a studio because you know when we recorded too, we were just like getting started as well.
Right.
You know, just as being a functioning band, and I think it's very different now. You know, like we've grown up a little bit. You know.
How has that changed kind of for new material? Is that something you guys are currently working right now?
Yeah, we're actually in the studio right now. We're working on a new album. We're hopefully we're gonna release some songs like in the fall.
pretty soon.
Yeah, pretty soon actually. So I think now just because we know what we want, we're sort of trying to really, do it for ourselves in a sense. Like we're really trying to just do what we want.
Yeah.
And I think that's ultimately what we want to do forever, is just do what we want musically.
I think the next song that comes out too is it's leading towards a direction that's different from the EP. So it's like the first step of many.
So that's what you mentioned earlier. Like it might not be rock the next time around.
Yeah, I mean it's still got some,
Elements,
elements of it, but
Still
it's
gonna be us.
Yeah, it's still gonna be us, but things change.
So the change, whether it's slight or major, like the change in sound, like how does that change the way that you guys create the music though?
What do you mean?
Like if it's not going to be as rocky, if it's going to be like a different kind of style or sound, like how does that change the way that you guys create, whether it's the writing process or like the recording process?
I mean, it's like that's never like a conscious decision. Yeah. And I think as soon as you do make it a conscious decision, whatever the output is going to be crap. Yeah. It's a very, exactly. Just like, just as a person, I'm in a different place in my life now than I was 5 years ago. And also the difference between 15 and 20 is it's huge. Yeah. So it's never like, we have a meeting and decide to take the music in a different direction. It just happens or it doesn't,
Right.
But yeah, and I think that's also why this album's going to be, something really special, just because it's tonally aware, but it's also not overthought. Yeah. So, yeah.
Like just in like, we just kind of we literally just put down anything that we like. We don't tend to, try and stay in the same. We try and just constantly move forward, and I think that is what we want, and that is, what's coming out, So I think that's pretty much it,
What would you guys say is like different this time around, as you guys are, whether it's in the writing process or the recording process, like what has changed though? Like
I think the writing process, because before we used to just jam, like we used to just jam and half-finished songs, and I think we've tend to, we might jam on a song, whatever, then we'll put it down and like make it into an actual song instead of just an idea. I think that goes in part with what we didn't know what we were doing before,
right.
And I think that was that's how we've matured now, is as musicians, is we tend to actually try and finish songs instead of just, it's an idea, it's there, it's done,
Right.
And I think that's why we're writing cooler stuff as well, so.
And how are you guys able to focus on that? Because I don't know, from my perspective, it looks like you guys have been touring nonstop since like November, I want to say. So how do you guys find that time to kind of relax and do it?
Dude, any free time you have, you just like, you give up the luxury of leisure and just
anytime
do
we
it.
have at home,
Yeah.
like spend it as much as you can working on what the current thing, which right now it's record and everything that revolves around that. But we're home chunks at a time.
Yeah.
It's very spotty too. It's like we'll come back for 2 weeks, leave for 2 weeks, come back for 1 week, leave for 1 week. It's not, and then we'll have one where it's like a month and a half.
Yeah.
And then it's very spotty.
Yeah, it's easy for me too, because like I can just write lyrics whenever, because it's like on my phone, or a piece of paper, whatever. That's why we just try and do it whenever we can.
Right.
And I think now we started to try and develop our songs a little more when we have like free time and like sound check or whatever. We've tried to start doing that. I don't know how far we've gotten, but we've tried. Yeah. So
It's a thought that counts, right? So are you guys working with the same team as far as the producers go, or is it a completely different team that you guys are collaborating with?
So far we've recorded 2 songs so far with Justin Raisin.
Okay.
He's done Eve Tumor.
The last Angel Olsen record. Yeah. And like did that Garden record. Yeah. Ariel Pink. Yeah.
But we were actually gonna go with somebody else, but it got complicated, and so last minute we had to pick someone, and he just kind of came in, and we met with him literally like 3 days before we recorded, and told him what we wanted, and he was like, and he got it right away.
Ended up being the greatest
Ended up
thing.
being great, and it sounds exactly what we wanted it to sound like.
It's crazy though. Like, that stuff happens all the time.
Yeah.
It's always like, we want one thing, doesn't work out, and then it ends up being a masterpiece that we found. You know, Justin in this situation, because he's really cool. Like, it's not like, you know, it sounds good. Like, he knows what we want, and there's a beauty to that as well. You know, I think,
Being on the same page. I think we're on the same page more so now. Like, even outside of the four of us, you know, Justin included, the manager included, kind of everybody.
Yeah. So how do you guys feel like when he stepped in? Like, how did he kind of have, or better yet, did he have you guys try something different in the studio, whether it was with the instrumentation or the vocals?
We did everything live this time,
Okay.
and everything on the EP was to a click, and kind of like tight and like nailed it this time. Like, that's the one. And
we get a take that's good, like that's the take, because it's live. You know, it's
and
like
I was singing too with the band, which I didn't do last time. I'd sat in afterwards, and it was like okay, if the vocals on this take were good, but they weren't on this take, we're scratching the whole thing. You know, so I thought that was kind of interesting. It made us. It kind of drove us to do way better takes than the last one. So.
It's interesting because listening to the EP, like if you guys told me you guys recorded that live, I would believe it just because the energy is just so intense on it. So I didn't actually expect that you guys used a click track for that one.
yeah, it's another difference too that I actually like a lot more this time around is that when we were doing the EP, there was just about a half a day where we were working on all of the tones of the instruments, like pedals and amps and everything like that. And this time around, Justin was just like, do what you usually do, and then, you know, we're gonna put it down. And then he just like buffed it up a little bit. It wasn't like, because it was already figured it out. Like, we had already figured it out. So it was just like, do what you usually do, and, you know, didn't make it any different than when we're setting up to just play.
And I think we were able to do it the way we did it now is because, you know, we'd probably played between the recording of the EP and the inception of the band, we'd probably played 50 shows. And
That's it. It feels like a lot more.
no, but I mean, but it wasn't that many shows.
Now in the EP?
No. Between
the band and the EP.
Oh, okay.
It's probably more than that.
No, but it wasn't. My point being, Jesus Christ, since we've made the EP, we've probably played 200 shows. You know, so we've gotten way tighter and been able to do that now. You know, not play to a click.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was my.
we got good at playing live, so might as well make the next recordings live.
So because it seems like you guys are pretty far into the recording process. So how soon can like fans expect like a new song or
Fall. September. That's quick. Maybe.
Yeah, if everything goes to plan, it would be awesome if it came out in September.
Right.
The EP was supposed to come out 4 months before it came out, so who knows?
Really?
Yeah.
That probably would have driven you guys crazy if you guys waited those 4 months since it's been sitting with you guys for a while.
We just wanted to like create new stuff
Yeah.
because that stuff, as much, you know, we're proud of it, but you know, it's like we're in this whole new area, and it was like we just got to get it out, but it
Imagine
took
the EP
so
was
long.
still being held back. Now.
Yeah.
You guys would be hating life, that's for sure. So, you know, possibly in the fall for this new material, and you guys are going back on the road with Bad Sons pretty soon. So, like, can fans expect you guys to maybe try or test out these new songs on the road?
Yeah, we've been playing a bunch of new songs actually since the beginning of the year, but I think especially because we have a gap of August where even newer material, I think we have a lot of time to figure out, you know.
You can honestly hear some of them because everybody just fucking records every show and puts them online. So there's already some fucking new songs on YouTube that we can't do anything about. So yeah.
Leaked.
So what can fans expect aside from this new material? Like, what can fans expect on this Bad Sons tour? Is this the biggest tour that you guys have been on so far?
It's
I think it will be. I think
will be. I think not. I think not our longest. It's just shy of our longest.
Yeah.
Because last time we did a tour
With Glorious?
with Glorious Sons, but we did that tour and then we did South by right after.
Oh,
so
right.
it was kind of
Okay.
like, but yeah, I think it'll be like in everything. Will be definitely our biggest tour.
Yeah.
And we have friends, Ultra Q, are going with us. Sorry,
there.
I choked a little bit.
We actually got to meet Bad Sons.
Oh yeah,
Like a month ago.
Yeah.
It was a coincidence. We're in Kentucky.
it'll be a fun tour. Yeah. It'll be
So for those fans that are not familiar, like, what is it about music that made you guys want to pursue it? Like, especially at such a young age too.
Sorry, repeat that question.
What was it about music that made you want to pursue this as a career?
I don't know. It just happened. I think I don't know. I for the longest time I was performing just shows, and I don't think I ever got sick of it, and I just enjoyed it a lot. So that's pretty much it for me.
You just get infatuated with that stuff when you're a kid, like no matter what, and I think everybody tries it, and you either stick with it or you don't, you know. And I think we just stuck with it.
Yeah, and being that I was young and I had a short attention span, I never got rid of that like enjoyment when playing or singing or anything. So I think that feeds into it. I never lost interest in it at all. Yeah. And the passion just grew after that, so.
Well, keep it going, guys. I love what you guys have so far. Like, I'm ready to listen to that new material. I guess I'm gonna have to go on YouTube. But thanks so much for hanging out with me. Congratulations with the EP and all the tours you guys have going on. You guys be sure to check out Liily, and thanks for watching on Front Row Live.